Today on episode 459 of the I Am Salt Lake podcast, we are joined by Amelia Mckay from Grapefruit and Thyme. We got to learn about Amelia when we talked to Anthony and Samantha from Wasatch Milk on episode 449, and it was so cool to follow up and talk with her and learn about how she fell in love with baking and what made her literally drop everything and pursue making delicious pies for delivery. Like, Amelia is just an inspiring woman, and I really loved hearing her story.
Such a perfect story, especially for this year. Hey, before we get into that conversation, I think we should introduce ourselves.
That's a good idea.
My name is Chris Hollifield.
And my name is Chrissy Hollifield.
Hey, if this is your first time joining us on the podcast, thank you for joining us. You might be asking yourself, what is this podcast all about? What's the theme of this podcast? Well, this podcast is all about showcasing awesome people from Salt Lake City. We talk to business owners, comedians, authors, tattoo artists, restaurant owners, breweries, distilleries, pie makers, really anyone that might have a cool story to share.
And guess what, Chris?
What's that, Chrissy?
This past week, we also found out that we won the I Am Salt Lake podcast won City Weekly's Best Local Podcast Award for 2020.
Which
is awesome because that
Chrissy.
just means that we get to keep highlighting local people, which is so exciting to me.
It's so exciting. Third year in a row that we got this.
And we could not have done it without you guys. Like, the community that we've built, the community that you guys have built, you listeners have built by joining us is the coolest thing, and I just can't even thank you enough. It's so great.
It's been a fun ride. It has been a fun ride. And I couldn't do this without you, Chrissy.
Oh, thanks. Well, I literally couldn't do it without you because you started it, so.
Hey, can we talk about our favorite coffee now? This is my favorite time of the podcast. Hugo Coffee are sponsors of this podcast, and we seriously can't get enough of them. Hugo Coffee Roasters is all about saving dogs one bag of coffee at a time. 10% of their net profits go to dog rescue organizations to provide shelter, beds, veterinary care, and toys, all so that they can be happy and healthy until they get adopted. Hugo Coffee is a craft coffee roastery based right out of Park City, Utah. What's really cool is that their head roaster, John, selects the highest quality beans with a rich flavor profile for a wide range of roasts from light to dark and even an espresso roast.
And I literally just finished a cup of coffee of their new single-serve brew bags, and oh my gosh, Chris, they're so good.
They are so perfect.
They're so easy. Like, I had our puppy who we adopted and our adorable little toddler running around grabbing my legs, and I could still make myself a delicious fresh cup of coffee. We just got some. I tried their the Bonafido dark roast in their coffee bag. And it was so good, I actually prefer to drink it black, which I never thought I would say.
I also thought about how easy these are going to be when we start traveling more once this whole COVID thing kind of passes, right? When we want to travel, just take some Hugo Coffee with us. Really, really super easy.
Well, it's not like regular, like coffee crystals that you're like, okay, this will do for now. It is really, really good artisan coffee. Like, even, it just feels like an experience.
Exactly.
And I'm so excited to have them in my life. So you need to get some in your life. Go check out all the different coffee they have available. We created a special promo code just for I Am Salt Lake podcast listeners and your friends. If you enter the promo code podcast when you're at checkout, you will buy one, get the second bag 50% off, and get free shipping. Remember to use the promo code podcast to get yourself the exclusive buy one, get the second bag 50% off with free shipping for I Am Salt Lake podcast listeners and their friends.
You take advantage of that deal, especially for the holidays.
You will not regret it.
All right, here's that conversation that we had with Amelia Mckay from Grapefruit and Thyme. Such a great story, such a great time chatting with her. Thank you so much for listening. Enjoy the conversation. I want to just start right off with how long ago this whole thing started, Grapefruit and Thyme. When did it start for you?
So it started actually less than 2 years ago. Before that, I was Amy Cakes, and that was maybe like 5 years ago, but it was just some cakes, super low-key, on the side, hobby, like just trying to decorate for fun, like nothing crazy. And then First of all, I was like, why did I name my business Amy Cakes? I don't even go by Amy.
It's a cute name, though.
I've never, ever gone by Amy in my whole life. And so I was like, this is so weird, like having people call me that. I was like, oh, you're talking to me? And so I changed the name to Grapefruit and Thyme because that was one of my favorite cake flavors that I offered. And
now, is this wedding cakes that you were making or all kinds of cakes?
When it very first started as a hobby, I was just like doing anything and everything I could get, just trying to make any money,
bakery. Yeah.
Yeah. But then I kind of fell in love with the wedding industry. And so I shifted to be more wedding specific. And it was March 2019 when I went full time and rebranded and did the whole Grapefruit and Thyme thing. And so we were doing weddings, custom wedding cakes, and dessert bar catering. So that was very specific.
Now, what did you before you were doing cakes full time, wedding cakes? You said March 2019. What were you doing prior to that? What was your job?
So before that, right before I started the whole baking in general, my husband and I, we actually lived in Las Vegas, and I worked in a little bakery down there. And the whole time I worked there, I absolutely loved it. And I was just like, man, I could do this. I could make my own desserts and sell them. And then we moved back to Utah, and within the first week of moving back, somebody contacted me and was like, hey, you should come work. I started this business. And so I worked in another bakery here in Utah for three and a half years. And then I went full time with my own.
That is so cool. And I'm I'm on your website right now. These cakes are ridiculously beautiful.
Oh yeah, I know. I'm just staring at them and wishing I could eat them right now.
But Chrissy, your mom made wedding cakes, right?
Yeah. My mom was a wedding cake. She owned a cake shop in Twin Falls, Idaho for a long time.
Oh, that's awesome.
So I grew up kind of running around in a bakery, helping frost stuff that doesn't go to clients,
Yeah.
What was what's your favorite thing about making wedding cakes?
I love the decorating aspect, doing something so unique and creative, and because they're different for every bride. Every person has a different taste, but then the more I did it, the more of a style I got. On my website, there's the 2 cakes with the geodes, and I really loved doing the geode abstract type of cakes for weddings. They're so different, and I feel like not a ton of people do those around here.
Yeah, they're really cool.
So you have an interesting story here. I kind of want to jump right into it. And of course, we'll jump back to wedding cakes and forward and backward. That's the joy of a podcast.
Yeah.
But when I was looking and kind of learning your story a little bit before you came on the podcast here, Amelia's, you had to make a pretty big shift this year with COVID.
Huge.
And because you were only making wedding cakes. Talk about what this shift was and talk about how it happened for you.
So, we had a huge shift in business this year with COVID hitting in, it was March. I just had a wave of calls and emails from every bride I had booked for the whole year. Was just hey, because of COVID, we have to cancel our wedding or we have to postpone. And so then I had some people postpone, but then 2 months later, we were still in COVID. It didn't go away as fast as people thought, And so then they were postponing to 2021. And so it just was crazy how many people, every single person I had booked for the year needed to cancel or postpone. And if they decided to not cancel, they pretty much eloped. And I actually had one bride message me and was like, so we actually got married 2 weeks ago. So can you just make a small cake for the original date? And I was like, oh, well, you got married. Congratulations. Didn't even know until after they were already married. And so I was just like, well, I just went full time. I had only been doing this business 1 year. Like, I need to do something to keep my business going. Like, I had bills to cover, like everyone that COVID hit. And my husband was working out of state at the time as well. So we were like, well, what's going to happen? Is he going to get sent home and lose his job too? And so I had a friend, she emailed me for like a party. She wanted a couple pies. And I was like, well, since I'm making pies for her, maybe I'll just offer them for the public, see what happens. So it was like mid-April when I decided to do a couple pies and see if anybody wanted them. And then it just took off.
People really wanted your pies.
Yeah, it was just like dessert pies at first. But then after a few weeks of doing that, our Murray location, Baker's CNC, the lady there reached out to me and was like, hey, why don't you do a pie drop-off here? So that was a place where I had taught classes before. So I was like really good friends with her. And I was like, oh, yeah, that would be cool to have a second location. And then I started that location. And then I had a couple that I made their wedding cake for last year. They started a home delivery service just this year. And so they reached out to me again and they were like, hey, we see that you started doing pies. Do you want to add your pies to our delivery service? And I was like, okay.
That's Wasatch Milk, isn't it?
Yep, Wasatch Milk.
Yeah, we had them on the podcast. They're the one who actually recommended you.
Yeah.
That's how we heard about you.
Yeah.
That's so
They're
cool.
awesome. And it was like so wild because I was like, wait a second, you don't even live in Utah. And they're like, oh, by the way, we do now. And we started this business. I was like, that's so cool. So we started doing pies for them. So now we have the delivery through Wasatch Milk, our Murray location, and our Provo location.
So our listeners, if they listen to the Wasatch Milk episode, you can go get some pies on there, like Amelia was saying. Now, how did you get? So let's back up just a little bit. First of all, you mentioned Murray was a second location for pickup. Where's your first location?
In Provo.
Okay. That's, I just for our listeners to, cause believe it or not, we do have a few listeners in Provo, so they gotta know where to pick it up. Now, how did you get the word out at first about that you were selling these pies? Because you were just doing custom wedding cakes at first. Mm-hmm. So that was just probably more like, you did one for one person and maybe they recommended you or however you got the word out. But to start making these pies, like how did you get the word out?
And was it like totally new? Were you kind of efficient in cakes and you had to learn a whole new art form, or were you already kind of proficient in pie making?
So I had made pies through the other bakeries I had worked at. So it wasn't like super foreign nature or anything. And so then when I started offering them, it was all social media, Instagram and Facebook. I was like, okay, I'm going to do 4 flavors, 2 savory, 2 sweet, and we're going to have pickup on Friday. So comment with what you want out of this menu, and then the menu rotates weekly. So the flavors change every week. And then people would comment, I would write it down, and then they'd pick up on Friday, and then we would do it again the next week.
Smart. That's like really good scaling. Just start small, work your way up.
Time to think about your health insurance. Open enrollment is going on right now. Wouldn't you like to work with a local insurance broker to help you find the best plan?
ARC Insurance is a woman-owned business based here in Utah. Founded by Rebecca Yates in 2010, Rebecca and her team are committed to helping clients find the best health insurance coverage at the most reasonable cost. Part of their expertise is helping small business owners, single moms, and families with special needs find the best health insurance plans.
ARC Insurance works with all major health insurance carriers, and there is no additional cost to use a broker. So get in touch with an ARC agent today. Visit arcutah.com, that's ARKutah.com, or call 801-901-7800 to schedule an appointment today. Again, that is ARC Utah, arkutah.com, or give them a call directly at 801-901-7800. And many thanks to Arc Insurance for sponsoring this episode of the podcast. So what were some of the pies that you've had available? Let's talk about some of these delicious pies.
So as far as savory goes, you have your classic chicken pot pie and pot roast, but then we also have chicken cordon bleu, which is probably the most popular savory pie we have, and chicken tomatillo. Love that one.
Ooh, I think that's the one I'm looking at right now. It has little corn and
the cornmeal
green
on
sauce
it.
kind of. Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Yum.
And then as far as sweet flavors go, our sugar pie is probably the most popular, and we just won the Utah Taste Off hand pie competition a couple weeks ago. We did a creme brulee pocket pie and used our sugar pie filling in that pocket pie.
Wow.
And then
okay, what is a sugar pie? Because I'm just imagining a pie literally full of sugar.
Yeah.
I've never heard the term before.
So it originated from the Hoosiers, I think it's Illinois. And it's basically, sugar mixed with heavy cream or half and half. And it's a super rich, decadent filling similar to a creme brulee. So that's why I called the pocket pie the creme brulee.
Ooh, that sounds good.
Yeah. That sounds really good.
Now, I wonder if you can get any of your pies in any local restaurants or anything. Have you tried that? Or, I guess you're probably staying busy.
Yeah, when we very first started, it was last year we did pies just for Thanksgiving. We weren't doing them on a weekly basis or anything. But after that, we started carrying our chocolate chess pie, which is like a fudgy brownie, in Sauce Boss Southern Kitchen's restaurant. And he offered it by the slice on his menu. But then when COVID hit, he's only currently doing takeout right now. So we haven't done pies for him for a while. But
yeah, I think can make it harder.
Yeah. But when he had his dine-in, you could buy pie by the slice through his restaurant.
Yeah. No, I just imagine, you go into those places like Village Inn or something that has a nice slice of pie. Can you imagine getting that account?
Oh, man, yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah. Like Denny's or
But
Village
could
Inn.
you imagine going to Denny's and being able to buy a slice of one of these pies? I would go to Denny's all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would love to get into more places. It just all happened so quick,
Oh, I know. It's crazy.
That's what I think is so awesome is your shift that you made. Now, approximately how quickly did you realize that you had to shift? Was it, you were talking about how you were a little at first you thought, well, maybe things will get back to normal, blah, blah, blah. When did you start making pies approximately? Was it April or May, or when was that?
Yeah, I started doing pies mid-April.
Okay, so you didn't mess around. You didn't mess around. You got out
I had tried doing bread.
Oh, okay. What happened there?
Nobody bought it, so I was like, okay, well, that's not going to work.
Now, this is interesting. How long did you wait to see if people would buy it? How long
did you test out the bread for?
How long, how did you realize that pies was a bigger hit? Literally, you sold that many more pies the first time you advertised and stuff?
Yeah, pies, it was the savory. The sweet ones didn't do as well. It was the dinner pies, because even with COVID and people now at home, they're not necessarily going out to eat. And so it's a pie is still a home cooked meal, And so families, even during COVID, they still needed to eat. And I was selling the savory pies really well.
Okay, that makes sense.
That totally makes sense.
And I think we would have bought some pies if we would have known about these.
I do feel the hardest part for those of us who don't really cook and usually we're running around a lot before COVID, one of the hardest things that hit us was oh crap, we have to eat now. And I don't know how to cook. I know that sounds really awful, but it can't be a priority for everybody.
Yeah.
So it is really nice people like you were available. It was kind of scary
at first, though. Yeah, because I would go grocery shopping and I'm well, I can't get flour. When that crazy
Oh, yeah, when everybody went crazy.
Shopping. I was like, well, I might have to cancel my cake orders to start with just because I can't get flour.
Wow.
But then they all got canceled anyway, so it didn't matter.
And then once flour became available, you probably just like stocked up on it, right?
A little bit, yeah.
Just like a warehouse full, no big deal.
Yeah.
Now, are you doing this all by yourself, or do you have anybody helping you?
So my husband, I mentioned he was working out of state at the time, and we were getting nervous. Like, we didn't know how crazy COVID was going to be. And so he came home. We just decided, well, if he's going to come home, I mean, what's the point of risking just having another job? Like, it's all the same at this point. So he quit and went full-time working with me. So now we both do pies full-time now.
Oh, wow.
That is cool.
That is really cool.
Does he bake too, or is he kind of like your helper?
He does. He does more like prep, like the veggie prep, chopping veggies and stuff. And
that makes sense.
Yeah, and he definitely does a lot of help with like the dishes and the grocery shopping. I haven't gone grocery shopping in months.
You're just like me and Chris. I'm always like, you get the groceries.
Yeah,
I'll stay
it's
here.
awesome.
Yeah, see, I love going grocery shopping. I love going to. No, that's awesome. It's interesting. We've been talking to a lot of couples over the last few weeks. I feel like that they've shifted with their business or their home businesses, and they're doing these businesses as couples.
Yeah.
And I think it's so awesome when first of all, you can do that without killing each other. I mean, I'm sure you have your moments.
It is helpful.
We have our days.
But, it's nice to work together. I mean, is it, or are you not so much? What do you think? The verdict.
We're going to turn into a marriage podcast now. Now that COVID hit, everybody's working together. We're here to talk you through it.
Well, I actually really enjoyed it. We met working together. And so we figured, well, we can work together again because we worked well together the first time when we met. And honestly, like him working out of state, that was the worst. I absolutely hated that because he'd be gone for like a month and then come home for 3 days and then leave again.
Mm-hmm.
So having him home was awesome. It was like the best thing. Like, oh, you're here every day.
Yeah.
Yay. And so that was really good. And now we're kind of getting into a new shift. But then we were like, okay, well, if you're truly going to work full time in the business, this is how many pies we have to sell. So then that's when we changed from doing pie sales on social media, and I hired somebody to add the order taking on my website. So now we take all of our orders online, and I don't have to look at Instagram and tally up my comments.
That's handy.
So let's mention your website now, since you brought it up. It's grapefruitandthyme.com, right?
Yep.
And then they would click on the pies and explain how the process works. Like, obviously this is during holidays, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, all that, whatever. But during people could listen to this episode even in March or April, right? Like, explain how the process works. They go in, they buy a pie, and then where did they pick it up at one of the locations, Murray or Provo, or how does that work?
Yeah, so when you go to the website and you click on the pies tab, you'll see the full list of pies. So from that point, you can either filter for just savory, just sweet, our pocket pies. And right now we have our Thanksgiving tab. And I usually update the website for the new weekly menu every Sunday night. So I'll do that tonight, being Sunday. It's usually around 9 p.m. It's pretty late. But the new menu, and those will be listed first above the current Thanksgiving pies. And then I'll take orders through Wednesday or Thursday or until we're sold out. And pickup day is Friday. And we have pickup in Murray at Baker's CNC just during their regular business hours. And then right now, our Provo pickup, I'm doing curbside pickup just from my home kitchen. I don't bake here. We rent another commercial kitchen, but being curbside pickup, that's where we're doing it. And except for our Thanksgiving pickup, we are doing on the property where we are building a storefront coming 2021. So
awesome.
Hopefully we'll get the storefront sooner than later, and then our Provo pickup will take place at our actual location.
UtahMarijuana.org is your number one spot for all things medical marijuana, medical cannabis, CBD, and THC. I don't know if you guys remember Tim Pickett from back in episode 420 when we had him on the podcast and we found out all about UtahMarijuana.org. Now they're a sponsor. UtahMarijuana.org's team of medical cannabis experts makes getting your medical card super easy, from your first office visit to navigating the state card application and beyond.
And with over 20 compassionate and highly skilled qualified medical providers ready to help you find relief, you won't have to search for a doctor willing to recommend cannabis treatment. The patient experience team at UtahMarijuana.org is dedicated to helping you get all the way through the process so you can get your medicine legally. And right now, they're offering an exclusive discount to I Am Salt Lake listeners. Just use the code GREEN25 for $25 off your first visit.
And if you're in the West Valley City area, check this out. UtahMarijuana.org. They have a brand new office. It's located at 3615 West, 1987 South, Building 8, right in West Valley City. So depending on where you're located in the valley, they have an office near you. Isn't it time that you took control of your own health? UtahMarijuana.org. Feel better. And many thanks to UtahMarijuana.org for sponsoring this episode of the podcast. So talk about the storefront. I didn't even realize this. Where is it going to be, and what's your goal? What's the plan here?
So super excited. We have the property already. It's down on the old State Street in Provo. I'm trying to think, Slate Canyon area, East Bay. So the main State Street that goes down into Springville, it's just right up South Provo. And I don't have like an exact open day grand opening yet, but 2021, we officially announced it just a few weeks ago on Instagram. So
that's so cool.
We're super excited.
That's so cool. I have a question, because I noticed on your website, you have instructions for baking different types of pies. Do you give people the option to either have a pie pre-baked or ready to bake? Or is there like one way that you do it?
So we have a couple different ways. If you're ordering pies for delivery through Wasatch Milk directly, all their pies currently come frozen, with Thanksgiving being an exception. Okay. So when you get your pie from Wasatch Milk, it's frozen. So there's individual directions. Savory pies you're going to have to thaw and then bake. Some of the sweet pies are already baked. You just let it thaw, and then you can slice it to eat. Okay. And then if you're ordering directly from me for Provo or Murray pickup, all the sweet pies come baked and ready to eat. I have had some people send me like a message like, hey, can you just maybe not bake my apple pie this week? I'm going to save it for something happening next Wednesday, Oh, so wow. I'll make an exception. But then all the savory pies, they come unbaked. They're not frozen like they are through Wasatch Milk. So you can either put it in your freezer or bake it up that night for dinner.
Oh, man, it's like the Papa Murphy's of pies.
Yeah, take and bake.
Take and bake. That's what it's called. I love it.
What about gluten-free pies? Do you offer gluten-free pies? I know we have gluten-free listeners, quite a few actually. So I didn't know if that's something you offer.
Not right now. I don't. I mean, pies are so new. We've only been doing it, like 7 months now?
Sure.
Yeah.
And so I definitely do want to offer a few gluten-free options when we open the storefront. So when we have our official location, yes, I do plan on having more options like that available.
I actually wanted to make a comment on the storefront. I bet you're glad your husband's doing it now full time with you, that the storefront's coming.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Now, do you have kids? I mean, during all this, is it just the two of you right now?
Just the two of us right now.
So that makes it kind of easy, That makes it
a little bit easier, yeah.
I didn't know if you were juggling, like Chrissy and I, we're juggling 4 kids on top of everything else that we're doing. So sometimes it's like...
Sometimes you forget people have a minute to, do something.
I mean, kids are on the radar, but I think by the time we do get to that point, the storefront will have its own full team of people working there, and we can kind of take a step back and go from there. We'll see.
That's smart. Yeah, hopefully, right?
Now, where did you even grow up? Where's home for you? Where did all that start for you?
So I am from the small town of Elsinore. Most people don't know where that is, but it's just right 10 minutes from Richfield. So Sevier County. Yeah.
I've never heard of it.
Okay.
Elsinore.
And now what brought you to Salt Lake then? What brought you here then? What?
I came to UVU for college.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if you mentioned that at the beginning. I was like, did she mention what brought her to the area? Very cool. Very cool. And 1 or 2 pieces of business advice, like if you, let's say you had a friend that was looking for business advice. They were starting a business, maybe not a pie business or a wedding business, just business in general. Do you have any advice that you would give them now that you've done a little bit of this?
I would say just try it. If it doesn't work, it's no big deal. Like I told you, I tried the bread. Well, that definitely didn't work and nobody bought it. So I'm like, okay, well, lesson learned. Let's try the next thing. So my advice is to just try it. If it doesn't work, it is not as big of a deal as you think it is. Just move on and do the next thing.
But there still is some fear there. There still is some nervousness.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Fail,
Yeah, but I mean, what you're saying reminds me of, I swear it was Thomas Edison, and I should probably Google it, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to sound stupid. I think he said something like, I never failed. I just found 10,000 ways that it didn't work, or something like that. Really good. It's like, oh yeah, you just figured out how not to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like fear can definitely be overwhelming and crippling at times. But once you start, even just one little step, it just makes it so much easier, and that fear slowly goes away until the next thing comes in. But yeah, I agree. I think there's always going to be fear. What if I open the storefront and nobody comes in? Then what? I just go back to an online shop, maybe. I don't know. So I just feel like things could be worse. And if it doesn't work out, there's something better anyway.
I like that. I like that attitude. I like that attitude. What do you do on days that you're just not motivated to even get out of bed? Do you have those days?
I wish. Right now I'm just so freaking busy that if I stop to do anything, or I guess if I stop to not do something. Wait, I don't even know what I'm saying.
If you stop doing work things to do something else.
I understand exactly what you're saying.
Yeah, I'm just to that point where I'm actually so busy right now that I don't have time to think about not doing anything.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
No,
did I do that wrong? Ain't nobody got time for that.
Yeah.
I'm with you, man. Being an adult is hard.
That's the best thing. Now, earlier you mentioned classes. You were doing some classes out of this Murray location that you're selling pies out of, or pies.
So
are you still doing that?
I'm not, mostly because I'm way too busy and I don't even have time to think about that. But Baker's CNC is a store more specific for bakers. So it's you can buy cake decorating tools there. You can buy kitchen supplies. They have some ingredients. They have the good quality chocolate, things like that. And so they have a separate little classroom off the side of their store. And I was teaching cake classes there. And it was a lot of fun, and I might go back to doing that, or I'll probably just do classes from our own storefront in the future, but I don't have anything this year.
Cool. Have you been to Baker CNC,
cool.
Chrissy?
No, I haven't. I'd like to go there.
Because we have our oldest daughter. She bakes cakes.
Yeah, she's been wanting to have a cake decorating business since she was like 5.
Yeah, and so I just wondered if she, she's.
I should take her there. It'd be like Christmas Day.
Yeah, it's an awesome place, and they bring in other instructors as well, like top cake decorators from across the country have come to teach classes there too. So it's not just the locals. Yeah.
That's really cool. We'll have to look into
awesome.
That. So as we go to like the area of the podcast where we get to know who Amelia is a little bit better and like what makes her tick and what you're interested in, like when you're not making cakes and pies, what are some of your other hobbies and interests? Or are you just so blasted busy making pies right now that you don't have time for hobbies?
When we do have a little bit of time off, our absolute favorite hobby is to go play disc golf.
Okay.
We love it.
That is becoming popular. I want to try. Have you played disc golf, Chrissy?
I haven't. I've heard of it. It sounds like ultimate frisbee in my brain, but it's probably not even close.
It has a different kind of frisbees that you use. They're way more heavy duty. You can throw
so it hurts a lot more
hundreds.
When you hit somebody?
Yeah, it sure does. You do not want to get hit by one of those things.
Awesome.
That's so cool. I want to play some disc golf.
Yeah, man, we should try that out.
What about your most memorable concert or sporting event that you've been to? Have you been to any good live music or sporting events?
That's something I don't usually do, but I will say the most recent concert I've been to was with my sister, and we went and saw Regina Spektor at the Salt Palace.
Oh, wow. I love her.
Oh,
yeah.
I'm jealous.
That was
awesome.
That was really fun.
I could see how that could be memorable. If you could learn a random skill, anything that...
Anything that you snap your fingers and be like, I can do that and I can do it awesome.
Yeah. What would your random skill that you would like to learn?
Oh, that's a good one. I actually would love to learn aerial dancing. Like, the Cirque du Soleil on the curtain things and they dance in the air.
Yeah, like on silks or in a
yeah.
And when we got some silks
we just got some silks for her other daughter. That's funny. we have another daughter who's really into aerial dancing stuff, and she had to have some silks in her room to practice.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I would love to learn that.
It is beautiful, isn't it? Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
There's a few standard Salt Lake City related questions we ask Amelia. Now, I understand you're not in Salt Lake City directly, so we'll just kind of open it up to Provo, the Valley, and I'm sure you come up here occasionally. Maybe there's something up here, but
General Utah.
You have family and friends that visit the state of Utah. They come and visit you here, I'm sure, and they're show us around. I mean, is there areas of town, Provo even, that you like to show off?
Yeah, so we actually just had some friends come visit a few weeks ago, and we took them up Hobble Creek Canyon up to Jolly's.
Ooh, that is beautiful.
They have one of our favorite disc golf courses up there.
Really?
And it's just so pretty just being in the canyon and everything.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love it. What about any favorite local eating spots? Is the Pie Milkshake place still down there in Provo? Is that place?
Oh my gosh, I forgot about that place.
Maybe it's gone. There was a Pie Milkshake place, and in talking about pies with you for the past, however long, 35 minutes or so has just made me.
I'll be honest, I never got the pie milkshake thing. To me, it's no, you can have a milkshake with a pie, but don't you dare put a pie in my milkshake.
That's funny. I'm trying to think our favorite. There's this one place on Provo Center Street that we love, and they sell kolaches, little breakfast roll things.
That sounds good.
I can't remember the name of the actual place, though. We just go there.
No, that's good. I'll try to look it up.
We'll have to Google it, or if you're in Provo, maybe you can hit us up and let us know what place it is.
Yeah. But another place, more Salt Lake specific, the pie. Yeah. We absolutely love the pie. We could eat pizza every day.
It's so good. Oh, yum.
We do eat pizza almost every day.
Now, it's been so much fun having you on the podcast, Amelia. Now, if any of our listeners want to take advantage of your pies or wedding cakes, I mean, I guess if they are getting married in 2021 or...
You can still have a wedding cake with 5 people.
Yeah, I mean, they could still hit you up and all of that. I mean, what...
how can people find you?
Yeah, how can people find you and whatnot?
So Instagram is probably the best place to find us. It's just at Grapefruit and Thyme. I update the menu, post it on social media, and you can see what's available. And then the ordering process is all through my website, grapefruitandthyme.com. And there's another page, not just for pies, but the contact page where you can fill out if you're looking for a wedding cake and go from there.
That is so cool because, like I said, I mean, this episode's going to be up for forever. I mean, I started this podcast over 8 years ago, Amelia. We got episodes still up from 8 years ago.
So in 2040, you can still go to grapefruitandthyme.com.
Yeah, go there and order some pies. And I mean, especially, even if, you didn't get one of the Thanksgiving pies, you can always get a Christmas pie or something like that, right? I mean, the holidays.
Yep,
I mean,
they're available every week. So,
and I kind of just want to get one every week just because Friday nights should be awesome, right?
Yeah.
It should be pie night.
You should have a pie on Friday night.
Yeah, sweet and savory.
Yes.
Before we wrap this episode up and turn the recorder off here, Amelia, I mean, was there anything that you were hoping that we would talk about, or was there anything that you wanted to talk about that we didn't get an opportunity to? I know we just kind of skimmed the surface with everything, but I didn't know if there was something you wanted to make sure to talk about.
I feel like we covered everything. We have our weekly pie menu. We have Thanksgiving. We kind of glazed the surface of the Utah Taste Off hand pie competition. So that was cool. Yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah, go. And then, like I tell everyone, go check out the website, connect on social media. Mm-hmm. Chrissy has a final question that she asks everybody that comes through here. I'm going to let her ask the question. Again, thank you so much for doing the podcast. And I always tell people, let's catch up down the road.
Yeah.
Indeed. And I feel like you've already given us really good advice so far. But just to let us finish with a bang, can you leave our listeners with a motto or a piece of life advice that either you live by or that you wish they would live by?
Dream big. That's what I have to say. Dream big. Because, I don't know, you start dreaming, and when you start doing things, the bigger the dreams become because you don't realize that you can actually accomplish that. And then it's like, well, what can I do now? And then that's the next thing. And so, I don't know, dreams come true.
Thank you again to Amelia Mckay for joining us on this episode of the podcast. If you want to follow Amelia or check out her pies, you can always find all the links that we talked about at our website, iamsaltlake.com. And just a quick link to find this episode, iamsaltlake.com/459.
All the links are right there, and make sure to check out some of those back episodes there. It is time for weekly gratitude, Chrissy. Thanksgiving's this week.
It is.
It's a weird year, but there's a lot to be grateful for and thankful for.
I think that this year brought out my gratitude more.
Yeah.
Like it definitely made me appreciate the real things in life, So what are you grateful for this week, Chrissy? I know mine's kind of cheesy, and I already went there. And then I realized that I think you said this last week, but I don't care because I am genuinely just grateful for our badass listeners.
Yeah.
Like you guys, you're so supportive of all the amazing guests that we get to share with you. You're always sharing your stories of how you discover them, what you love about them, what your favorite thing to order from them is. And you're always promoting these businesses. And just the community that we've all built together is exactly the community I want to be a part of. And I'm just so grateful for all the people who have made this community.
We've really built a cool community.
And I'm like going to cry right now. So thank you guys.
We've built a cool community with this podcast.
Got some seriously awesome people.
And I'm grateful for the opportunity that I had to teach podcasting. I had a full class that I just taught podcasting to up at the U. It was an online class. 20 students I had in this class, and they were all awesome students. So I'm grateful for that opportunity to teach them the introduction to podcasting.
I actually kind of like to listen outside the door while you were teaching your classes, and I'm like, dang, he's giving some really good advice. Like, I want to be in that class.
Well, the next class starts in February.
Yeah, man, it's going to be awesome. Even better. Well, thank you guys again for joining us. And don't forget, you can always visit our website at iamsaltlake.com. You can search through our entire back catalog of episodes. And if you have a friend who you think would enjoy the show, go share it with them.
All right. Have a great week. Get out and enjoy the city. Support local, especially right now. And we're going to see you next week on the next episode of I Am Salt Lake Podcast.
Oh, you ate your cookies. Okay, good. Okay, shh, 1 second. And good night, Grammy.
I gotta love Lucy coming in right there.
Lucy did just join us to let us know that she finished eating her cookies. So that sounds like recording time's over.
Awesome.